Hello everybody and welcome back to Culz Book Reviews. Today we are checking out the 2015-16 run of Secret Wars by Jonathan Hickman. Now, this is only the third time I think we've done, or fourth time if you include the Spider-Man manga that we did, but only fourth time we've done a comic. And this actually marks the first of our monthly comic tie-in to our brand new podcast, Culz Talks Pop Culture, which went live on Monday. So if you guys haven't seen that, link will appear above. Make sure to go check that out and come join us next time. We're going to talk about The Crow. But let's get into Secret Wars. Alright, so up top, obviously we have the title, Secret Wars. It is obviously made by Marvel. We got some of the creators, and we also have a quote from IGN, as epic as anyone could want. And then we got this really nice artwork going on here, which displays a whole host of different characters. Some, like Miles Morales, play a pretty integral part, or at least they're in here for a while. Captain Marvel is in here for a bit. The Thing is also in here for a little. Some of the others aren't really in here too much. We'll kind of talk about that. On the side we see Marvel, Secret Wars, and then again the creators. And then down at the bottom we actually got Dr. Doom and Reed Richards just on the spine. And on the back here we again see Reed Richards and Doom fighting. When everything ends, there is only Secret Wars, and a little bit about what's going to go on in this run. And for those of you who would like, here's the ISBN for you. Alright, so to not try and post the spoiler of the last page, I'm trying to just show where usually numbers would be. There's no numbers at all in this one. Goodreads does list it at 312 pages though. And of course it is a graphic novel, so if you flip through it you're going to see a lot of artwork. Some actually pretty good art throughout here, mixed with the obviously speech bubbles and characters talking with each other. Now at the front it does kind of give you some other comics or storylines to read, which happens in Battle World. If you did catch our discussion on Secret Wars, David kind of explained how some of these were and perhaps how much they did or did not tie in, so make sure go check that out. Alright, so what are some of my thoughts on Secret Wars? Well, if you saw our live stream, you already know my rating, so we'll just kind of start there. Overall, I do think it is a 7 out of 10. We'll get into more of the reasoning why, but I'm going to have to go into spoilers, so if you haven't read it, I would recommend going to read it first and then coming back and checking out what I think of it. If you don't care about spoilers and just want to see a review, then stay tuned. So Secret Wars led into what really kind of became the rebooting of the Marvel Universe, or the conjoining of Earth 616 and the Ultimate Universe. And this is something we see in comics quite a bit. You know, DC does it a lot with their Infinite Crisis ones or Flashpoint. Secret Wars has happened a couple times. And it's just a way to kind of give a clean slate or start over or just streamline, because at some point you might have too many characters or just storylines you don't really find interest anymore, and it just gives you that clean start again. Now, for me at points, this one, obviously it's a big event, but it does feel kind of clustered and kind of chaotic at points, and really I think shines better when it is stripped down to just a handful of characters. Doom, you see the two Reed Richards in here, Mr. Sinister, the Spider-Man. For a little bit you do have T'Challa, Thanos, Star-Lord, some of these other characters, but no one playing a huge role, I would say, other than perhaps cannon fodder for Doom, as far as Thanos for sure. I mean, I think that's what kind of led me to this one anyway, was there's a panel of Doom just ripping Thanos' spine out, and so that's how I actually came to find out it was in the Secret Wars. And then, of course, with the announcement of RDJ coming back as Dr. Doom. Now, my theory is it's going to be very similar to this one, and he's just going to be Victor Von Doom. I don't believe he will be a Tony Stark, alternate reality version. But I think the story will probably be introduced in the Fantastic Four movie, where perhaps Galactus wins, destroys that universe, the Fantastic Four escape, and Doom has only one way to save his universe, and that's to combine them and kind of destroy and make this battle world and make this like god world where he's all powerful. Some of the things I found interesting were like Mr. Sinister, who actually has a pretty sizable role considering how many characters are in here. He's pretty prominent throughout the story leading up to the final battle. The Thors are God Doom's peacekeepers, and they go and arrest Mr. Sinister and bring him to this kangaroo court, which Doom does preside over. Stephen Strange is working. He's one of the other two working with Doom, reluctantly or not, to try to save the universe and create something that is still there. It's better than nothing, right? Now, Strange, much like Thanos, I think is there because you know how powerful he is, and Doom just annihilates him. Now, he does use him as like this martyr, and he builds a statue and says, it was other people, we need to find out who killed him, when in reality it was just Doom. Marvel Zombies are in here just for kind of a brief portion. Again, it's kind of just like the conglomeration of everything going on, and so they're throwing everything together. T'Challa, I think, has another kind of sizable role, not as big as Mr. Sinister, but I think we would probably get a recasting, is kind of where I think, because he's pretty prominent. He gets the Infinity Gauntlet at one point, tries to use it, and it doesn't work. Another interesting thing for me was Cyclops becoming the Phoenix, having the Phoenix power. Just kind of an interesting twist. He does perhaps get engulfed by that power and wants to take over Doom's position, and Doom kills him. And really, I guess Doom is doing it for reasons of trying to save things, but at the same time, he's all powerful. Everyone kind of has to obey by him. So he's not 100% evil, but he's more nuanced in here. And I think that, again, that goes into some of the strengths. Some of the characters I think are really well developed, others not so. Granted, there were comics leading up to this, there's comics throughout where some of the characters might be fleshed out a little bit better. But at the end of the day, I think just focusing on Reed, perhaps a little bit more on T'Challa, Mr. Sinister, Doom, and Reed's family and stuff like that, I think that's where it really shined. Now, I think one of the bigger weaknesses is the ending. A lot of times you got this huge, really massive event, and it's hard to live up to what's been growing, and this one does feel kind of rushed. And I don't know if maybe they wanted more issues and got cut down to what they ended up doing, or that's just kind of how they pictured it, like this kind of big climactic battle that's just so quickly ended. I just felt like maybe giving it an issue or two more to breathe a little bit and really kind of pay off this big climactic battle that's been building. It just feels kind of rushed and not fully developed. And sometimes that happens in these big events where, it starts off strong, but you got to stick the landing. And I think that's where it does kind of come up short. But overall, like I said, 7 out of 10. It was still interesting. Had some really good ideas, just didn't stick the landing, and some great art. I think Doom is done well. I wish there was more of it, and I wish there was more trades I could pick up with Doom. I know they released that omnibus, a huge 1,200 page collection, but it was limited print, and I think that's kind of the bummer with some of these Marvel ones is, man, if you don't get the trades right away, they go out of print so quickly, or they're limited runs. DC, it always seems like, you can go in the store and find what you're looking for. When we did this, I know it was a little bit harder for our entire group to find copies to discuss it. But I'm glad we picked it up, and I think this is an interesting way to just work in something a little bit different each month with a monthly comic. Like I said, next time is going to be The Crow. So if you guys want to read that and then join us on September 23rd at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard, we'll be talking that. Yeah, but for now, that is my review of Secret Wars. But if you'd like to see more Culz book reviews, click that link to your left. And for more about us here at Culz Paranormal, including that pop culture podcast, click that link to your right. And don't forget to hit that like and give us a subscribe. And let us know, did you read Secret Wars? And is there a Doom comic we should read? Tell us in the comments below.